Why we take away the vehicles is to keep them in custody so that they are not sold. And then when the matter has been finalized, we are then in a position to sell them or find some, use them as where we can find the money that we would want to recover. Therefore, in this case, the dealership is contesting the fact that the cars belongs to them. Therefore, that is the issue that they are contesting, which has not been ruled on by the tribunal. All the tribunal said was that it will be ventilated in the main case. Therefore, the matters are still the same in the sense that we will take back the vehicles, but they were ordered on their side to put assets or monies that are equivalent to the value of those cars, which for us is still the same thing, because at the end of it all, we have got something that we are going to use once we want to recover at the end of the case.
Sure. Now, these supercars are linked to the looting of funds meant for Tembisa Hospital. Talk to us more about the evidence that led the SIU to connect these high-value assets to the hospital corruption probe.
Yeah, maybe let me start by saying these vehicles are not the ones that have been circulated on social media, because people are giving an impression that we are giving back the ones that we got from Mpumalaga's house, which is not the case. But the issue here is we are of the view that this dealership is serving as a proxy for Mpumalanga and others. Therefore, that is why we went to them. We didn't just wake up and go to this dealership because we were following the sale of these cars, and we were following where the money went in the Tembisa Hospital, and it ended up with them. That is why we went to them. Therefore, the significance of them being part of this is because of exactly that.
And what does this say about how public funds are being utilized in this country, and how common is this trend?
No, this trend is very common, Masichaba, where we find that people get this money, they go to this dealership, especially this particular one, and then they buy these cars, but they do not change ownership, so that the ownership looks like it remained with the dealership. That is why they can say, here are the papers that we are having with this thing. This car still belongs to us. But we know, we have seen when we were following the money, that the money was now sent to them. Therefore, they must now explain why this money was given to them.
The Special Investigating Unit, SIU, has intensified its focus on the alleged R2-billion corruption scandal linked to Tembisa Hospital, with new details emerging around the seizure of high-value vehicles and the role of a Mpumalanga-based luxury vehicle dealership. SIU spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago says investigators strongly believe that the dealership challenging the seizure of vehicles is acting as a proxy for businessman Hangwani Maumela and other individuals implicated in the corruption investigation. Kganyago explained that the SIU followed a detailed money trail which ultimately led investigators to the dealership, strengthening suspicions that it is not acting independently, but rather on behalf of individuals seeking to shield assets allegedly purchased with proceeds of corruption. The case has drawn national attention as it exposes the complex networks often used to conceal illicit financial flows within large-scale corruption schemes in the public health sector. At the center of the investigation is Hangwani Maumela, a businessman alleged to have benefited significantly from irregular contracts and payments linked to Tembisa Hospital. The hospital, one of Gauteng's key public health care facilities, became the focus of a presidential proclamation authorizing the SIU to probe allegations of procurement irregularities, financial mismanagement, and corruption involving billions of rand. According to the SIU, the investigation uncovered a sophisticated system in which funds allegedly siphoned from the hospital were moved through various entities and accounts before being used to acquire luxury assets, including high-end vehicles. Kganyago said the seizure of these vehicles was a critical step in preventing the dissipation of assets that could potentially be recovered on behalf of the state. The money trail led us directly to the dealership, Kganyago said. We believe the dealership is not acting in isolation, but is serving as a proxy for Mr. Maumela and others involved in this matter. These are assets we believe were acquired with proceeds of corruption, and we are determined to ensure that they are preserved pending the finalization of legal processes. The Mpumalanga dealership has approached the courts to challenge the SIU's seizure of the vehicles, arguing that the assets were lawfully purchased and that the dealership is the rightful owner. However, the SIU disputes this claim, saying evidence gathered during the investigation suggests that the vehicles were effectively held on behalf of individuals implicated in the corruption case. Kganyago noted that the use of proxies, intermediaries, and third-party entities is a common tactic in corruption cases, particularly where large sums of money are involved. By placing assets in the names of businesses or associates, suspects attempt to distance themselves from the proceeds of alleged criminal activity. This is not unusual in cases of this nature, Kganyago said. When people are aware that they are under investigation, they often try to move assets or hide them behind legal structures. Our job is to pierce through those arrangements and follow the money wherever it leads. The alleged R2-billion corruption at Tembisa Hospital has had far-reaching consequences, not only for those implicated, but also for the broader public healthcare system. Investigators say funds meant for essential services, medical equipment, and patient care were allegedly diverted, undermining the hospital's ability to deliver quality healthcare to communities that depend on it. Patients and healthcare workers at Tembisa Hospital have previously raised concerns about shortages of supplies, malfunctioning equipment, and deteriorating infrastructure. These challenges, the SIU says, underscore the real-world impact of corruption, where financial crimes translate into human suffering. The investigation forms part of a broader crackdown on corruption in the health sector, which has been under scrutiny following numerous reports of irregular procurement during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. President Cyril Ramaphosa has repeatedly stated that corruption in the public sector will not be tolerated and has empowered institutions like the SIU to act decisively. Kganyago emphasized that the SIU's mandate is not limited to uncovering wrongdoing, but also includes recovering losses suffered by the state. Civil litigation, asset forfeiture, and referrals for criminal prosecution are all tools available to the unit. Our focus is on accountability, he said. Where we find evidence of wrongdoing, we will pursue civil action to recover funds, and we will refer matters to the National Prosecuting Authority for possible criminal prosecution. Legal experts say the dealership's court challenge could become a key test of the SIU's powers to seize and preserve assets linked to alleged corruption. If the court rules in favor of the SIU, it would reinforce the unit's ability to act swiftly to prevent the disposal of assets before cases are finalized. If the dealership succeeds, it could complicate efforts to recover funds and highlight the need for even stronger legislative tools. The SIU maintains that its actions are firmly grounded in evidence and due process. Kganyago said, investigators compiled extensive financial records, transaction histories, and documentation to support their case. We don't act on suspicion alone, he said. Every step we take is informed by evidence and guided by the law. We are confident in the strength of our case. Public reaction to the developments has been mixed, with many South Africans expressing frustration over continued revelations of corruption involving essential services like healthcare. On social media, calls for swift justice and harsher penalties for those found guilty have grown louder. Civil society organizations have welcomed the SIU's firm stance, saying it sends a message that attempts to hide stolen public funds will not go unchecked. However, they have also cautioned that investigations must lead to successful prosecutions and recoveries, not just headlines. This case highlights why following the money is so important, said an anti-corruption activist. It's one thing to expose corruption, but it's another to ensure that stolen funds are recovered and that those responsible are held accountable. As the legal battle over the seized vehicles continues, the SIU says its investigation into the broader Tembisa Hospital corruption saga is ongoing. Kganyago confirmed that more developments are expected as investigators continue to analyze financial records and pursue additional leads. He added that the SIU will not be deterred by legal challenges or attempts to delay proceedings. We are prepared to defend our actions in court, he said. Our mandate is clear, and we will see it through. The case has once again placed a spotlight on the role of oversight institutions in safeguarding public resources. With billions of rand at stake, the outcome of the investigation could have significant implications for how corruption cases are handled in South Africa going forward. For now, the focus remains on the courts, where the dealership's challenge will be heard, and on the ongoing work of investigators seeking to unravel the full extent of the alleged corruption network. As South Africans await further updates, many hope the case will mark a turning point in the fight against corruption in the public health sector, one that ensures accountability, transparency, and justice for the misuse of funds meant to serve the public. Don't forget to like this video, comment with your views on the investigation, and subscribe for more updates on this and other major news stories.